What's up everybody? Welcome back to my channel for another 1/6 scale figure review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Hot Toys Ahsoka the White from the Ahsoka Show. I'm very excited to take a look at this one. I think there's a lot of improvements on this one over the Mandalorian version, which we will compare in this video. Before we get started though, I want to give a massive shout out, as always, to Jeremy Casa over at Plastic Hero Collectibles. As I always say, if you need 1/6 scale, 1/12 scale, statues, you name it, he can find it. So definitely check out his Facebook group and his Instagram page in the description below. Definitely follow him on Instagram. He's trying to build up his Instagram page, so I would highly appreciate that. With that being said, let's now take the plastic clamshell out of the art box and let's see how it arrives to you when it lands on your doorstep. So of course, as always, I did take the plastic off of everything just to make it easier to see everything laid out here in the plastic clamshell. First impressions, guys, are very good. I can already tell that this head sculpt is leaps better than the Mandalorian version. Of course, we will take a look at that in depth a little bit more later. Something I found pretty interesting, the cloak is actually pre-installed in the box. You don't see that too often because oftentimes, obviously, the cloak or the cape is put on a piece of cardboard and kind of stored in the box somewhere with plastic over it. So I found that pretty interesting. And just for a bit of a tease, because why not, here's a closer up look at those head sculpts as they're sitting in the box. I'm so excited to take a look at this. Let's take the figure and all of the accessories out of this plastic clamshell and let's take a closer look at all of the details. I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't wait. I really had to take a close-up look at this head sculpt, and I gotta be honest with you, the likeness to Rosario Dawson looks absolutely fantastic. Again, going from that Mandalorian version, and you'll really see it when I compare him in the video, it is such a huge upgrade. The Leku look a lot better. I like the paint apps and the shape of them much more. The paint apps on the face are great. Just everything about this head sculpt is just very, very well done, and I'm very excited to have this in my collection finally because I really think this is a huge upgrade over my beloved Mandalorian version. Unfortunately, there's not a great hand selection in this set. As you see, you only get 5 extra hands, so with 2 being pre-installed on the figure, that makes 7 hands. I don't know, for a Jedi figure, I feel like I want to see a little bit more, but what are you going to do? That's what they gave us to work with. As I get closer up on them though, the details are fantastic. With both the Mandalorian version and this version from the Ahsoka Show, they did such a great job with the costume design. That Japanese-inspired costuming is really sick. And as you can see, you have kind of weathering on those front pads there on the gloves. There's dirt and grime in between the knuckles and everything. They look very good. And I do want to point out here, as you can see, there's dirt on the fingernails, but there's also really nicely painted in cuticles. Something else a bit different as well that you see with this set that you don't see with the Mandalorian set, you actually get 2 USB powered hilts as well to go with those regular hilts. And of course, with that being said, you also get the regular white blades as well as the in-motion blades. Keep in mind that offhand saber of Ahsoka's that's much smaller, you do get a shorter blade for that one. And for those who are curious, I have the hilt from the Ahsoka version on the left and the Mandalorian version on the right. As you can see, they are the exact same sculpt, but you do see some differences in the paint. There's some weathering in different spots here on the Ahsoka version. And obviously, as you look at those gold bits, they're much more of a yellow gold color versus like a muted gold color on the Mandalorian hilt. So that's pretty interesting, but yes, they are the exact same sculpt otherwise. And I usually don't show stuff like this, but just in case we have some newer collectors watching, you do have the little junction box and the clips to attach the USB-powered saber cables to the body. Also, for the Ahsoka here, you do get some blade plugs to kind of make it look like the lightsabers are turned off, which is pretty cool. And for those who are curious, I have both sabers with the blades in hooked up to the little junction box here with the USB-C. And honestly, I'm not a huge fan of how these look when they're actually lit up. They do have that like frosted effect on the blade, and I think because of that, it kind of keeps a lot of the light towards the bottom of the hilt. And as you can see, it's very strong towards the bottom of the hilt, and at the tip it gets very, very dim, which is usually typical of Hot Toys, but yeah, I'm not a huge fan of how that looks. I'm not gonna lie, I absolutely love this display base. It's very different. This is not just a sticker on top of here. There's actually like etched in physical lines on the top of the base. That texture looks really, really nice, and I love the aesthetic of that light gray and white combination. The nameplate on the front is beautiful. That like subtle silver tone to it looks really, really nice. And also it comes with another piece that could be attached onto the base. And this is what it looks like with that piece attached. I love that that's an optional thing for those who don't want to use it, or you can kind of take this piece off and use it in your background somewhere. That would be pretty cool. But but you can see the details on it are very nice, really nicely sculpted in like cracked wall, and the paint is very clean on that symbol as well. It's just really nicely done. I love stuff like this. It's not overly complicated, it's not overly large, and it looks really, really nice. And here's that alternate like angry battle faceplate here. I know this is not going to be a fan favorite, but I do think it looks really good, and if you actually look at some clips from the show of her fighting, it's pretty dang spot on. She just has a creepy look when she's fighting, I guess. But yeah, it looks really nice. The teeth have some nice paint and gloss on them. They look like individually separated teeth. The eyes are gorgeous. The paint apps on the face are gorgeous. This does have the rolling eyeball system. Unfortunately, this is not one where you can kind of stick your finger in there. It's very tight in there, so you do have to use that adjustment tool, but it's very awesome nonetheless to see all of these figures with that eye adjustment system. It's definitely a massive plus. So guys, just in the interest of time, because we will be doing a comparison in this video, we're gonna get right into it. We have the Ahsoka the White here in my hands. Let's take a quick look, a quick 360 around the body, so you can kind of get an idea of what the proportions are looking like. Of course, I will pull this awesome cloak here off of her so we can see what that looks like as well. But I'm very, very pleased with how this looks. Overall, the overall look of this figure, sorry, that's in the way. I do think this looks much better than the Mandalorian version. Getting a bit closer up on that head sculpt, we kind of mentioned this earlier, but the sculpt looks absolutely fantastic. I think this much more looks like Rosario Dawson. Again, you will see that especially when we have them side by side. It makes it very, very apparent. Before I pull the cloak off though, I do want to show you this wired hood here. So obviously it just pulls over the Leco here on her head. Let me turn it around to the front. It does have wiring in it, and I think it actually looks a bit nicer than the Mandalorian version one. Of course, it's going to require some futzing, but yeah, not bad at all. I gotta be honest, it's gonna be very difficult not to keep her in this look because those seamless shoulders just look absolutely incredible and very realistic, kind of like the Mandalorian version. I do think it looks a bit nicer on this figure. I don't know if because of the outfit or what, but it looks awesome. I think the flesh tone is pretty spot on to how she looks in the show. Again, I mentioned this earlier, but the Leku look incredible. These are posable. It's kind of a sturdy, like rubber material, but as you can see, they do pose a little bit, so I think there's gonna be some wiring all throughout those. But she just looks awesome, guys. What an absolute beautiful likeness to Rosario Dawson. The details on her outfit are just simply beautiful. That belt, all the different beads running down on the side there. You do have a metal hook to hook the lightsabers on there. That little wrapping material on her forearms. We saw the hands earlier, but you can see again that Japanese-inspired design there. We have some kind of open, relaxed, possibly force hands that you could use. As we move the arm out of the way, you can see the details here on the fabric. Really, really beautiful, nice fabric. It feels really quality. You also have a lightsaber hanger on the other side as well, obviously, because you do have two sabers. Also, I want to point out the pants look great. That pattern on the pants is really nicely done and very finely detailed. Again, the fabric just feels really good. Moving down to the boots here, again, you could see that Japanese-inspired design. They look very nice, though honestly, I didn't know Ahsoka was chill like that because she has those custom foam runners made just for her for the show. All jokes aside though, as we pop the foot off, you could see you have a hybrid plastic and metal peg here on the foot, which is really nice to see. Obviously, it just moves up and down. You do have some side-to-side motion. It is a bit awkward when you're moving the feet because it kind of moves on an angle there, but still, that's really good to see because that's some extra reinforcement in the ankles. Hopefully, they do that for all future figures where they're a bit worried about that because obviously, especially with like the Deadpool and Wolverine figure with the ankles breaking, that was a huge deal. Something else I want to point out, you do have metal reinforcements in the elbow joints as well. This was something that was a big issue on the original Mandalorian Ahsoka, believe it or not. It did not have metal and it broke a lot on people. Though I will say I actually have seen a few reports of these breaking on people as well. There's like a little metal pin in there. I saw someone else's where it was completely sheared off. Another person's, the little metal pin went defective. So be careful with this, guys. I don't know. It's tough because you want to think it's going to hold up on you because it is a metal joint. But like I said, I've seen some people have issues already. I don't think Hot Toys has perfected this design. It's definitely exciting to see some metal in there. Obviously, they're doing this design so you can kind of have that hybrid seamless design with the shoulders and everything showing. But yeah, it's a bit disappointing to see some people having issues. Another thing I want to point out, I don't know what's going on with these new pegs they've been using with the female figures recently. I had the same issue with Sabine. The peg just wants to separate there at that seam, and it's super annoying, and it happened with both of the hands on this figure as I was pulling them off. It just wanted to separate on the peg. That's really cheap, and that doesn't happen very often to me with Hot Toys pegs, so I don't know what they changed there, but I don't like it. And because I'm not doing posability in this video, I do want to show you really quick what I mean about the feet. You can see because of the design, it's got that angled peg. It does rotate a little bit weird. It's not a normal like rocker ball joint, so definitely keep that in mind. It's a bit odd. But geez, when you look at these head sculpts side by side, you've got the Ahsoka cosplayer on the left, and you've got Rosario Dawson in 1/6 scale figure form on the right. Definitely a huge difference. I do like to see the differences and the similarities in the outfit as they're side by side though. I think that's pretty dang cool. As we back them up though, you could see proportionally, I just think this new body looks much better. It feels better in the hands. It's slightly heavier, ever so slightly, but yeah, I think they look really nice next to each other, but you could see the clear winner. And trust me, I already know what you're gonna ask, so let's find out. Can you swap the new Ahsoka faceplates onto the old Leiku from the Mandalorian Ahsoka? Well, unfortunately, it looks weird as hell, and that's a big fat no. Because of that little extra plastic piece there and the way the Leiku is shaped at the top, you literally cannot press it together. You have this massive gap here. I mean, I don't know if you like how that looks, you know, maybe you'll put yours like that. I think it looks ridiculous. Obviously, it doesn't fit, so that's a bit unfortunate, because I would have loved to kind of mix and match those faceplates. I know the actual hair piece is a bit different as well, so it would have been a bit odd regardless, but I hope that answers your question. No, it does not fit. They're not interchangeable. And I don't know why you would want to do this, but if you do, the new head actually does kind of peg onto the old body, so that is a huge upgrade, obviously. That head sculpt and the Leiku just look way better, so if you want to do that, you can. And just for those who are curious, this is what the old joints that we're breaking on people look like. As you can see, it's just a normal plastic joint. Be very careful if you have this older figure because it broke on so many people. I've been actually scared to pose mine. So she just has her arms down at her sides in my display. Another thing I want to point out very quickly, you could see the differences in the flesh tone. On the Mandalorian Ahsoka, you have like a brighter orange color versus that more muted orange on the Ahsoka version. And I actually prefer that on screen. I thought it translated a little bit better and it looked a little less weird translating into live action in my opinion. But yeah, two absolutely beautiful outfits in their own right. They have a lot of similarities, but also a lot of differences. And like I said, I do think the head sculpt on the new one and the body is much more upgraded. As you have them by their sides here, you can see how much nicer those arms lay at the sides on the new version. It's just an overall upgrade, and it just shows where Hot Toys and many other 6 scale companies have come when it comes to technology in such a short amount of time, especially with all the rooted hair stuff right now. It is really crazy to see the differences from figures that are only a few years old, so definitely really interesting. So unfortunately, guys, I gotta wrap it up here because I am gonna be leaving very soon for my vacation. I'll be gone for over a week, but I wanted to do a quick little review / comparison. I won't be doing my normal posing segment at the end of this video, so I do apologize, and I also won't be doing any posability on this one. But I'm sure you guys appreciate at least that comparison, so you can kind of make your decision whether you want to jump up to this one if you have the previous version. But that's going to wrap it up. Let me know if you're going to be picking this figure up. Do you currently have it on pre-order? Has yours already shipped? Again, as always, links to Jeremy Casa over at Plastic Hero Collectibles will be in the description below. Thank you so much again, Jeremy. Thank you so much for watching. See ya.